Speaking of this whole situation, I mean, someone who fits perfectly into this topic is our next guest. He is joining us from New York. There he is, the man himself, the funk master himself, Aljamain Sterling, joining us via the magic of Skype. How are you, Aljo?
What's up, guys? What's up, Ariel?
Where are you? I'm
in my backyard right now on the little porch.
Oh.
I hear Ally Quinto right now upstairs listening to your show.
That is amazing. Ally, yeah. What a guy. I love that guy. Say hello to him for us.
Ariel, so what's up?
We'll get him on soon. I miss Al. First things first, what's going on with the bicep over there? Bionic,
man. It's coming along, man. I almost got full range of motion. I can almost straighten this thing all the way out. And once the bone completely heals, they say that takes about 6 weeks. Then I can start strength training. So I'm getting pretty close, 4 weeks out tomorrow. But I think I think I could be good to get this thing going a little bit sooner, but I don't want to get too crazy.
What happened?
And I was sparring with James Jenkins, and we were just in a clinch, kind of broke, and then I just threw like an overhand right, but the way I threw it, I kind of like had my arm all the way locked out, and when it landed flush, and just the way it hit, it like landed at the wrist and hyperextended a little bit and popped. I actually posted it in my one of my vlogs for Feeding the Streets.
Yeah, that's right. I apologize for missing that one. Now, was this before or after the fight?
This was after the fight. This was actually the first day I got back home from UFC Ottawa. I went to Toronto after that, and I was just gone. I was gone for about a month, man, just doing a bunch of traveling and still training, but just traveling and taking some time off.
How did Al handle all of that, being away from you for a month?
I don't know. I think it's an easy fix.
Okay, fair enough.
A couple hours, you know.
Was that tough? Was that tough for you? Because the week after your fight against Bryan, you were on the Fox set, and then you went to Ottawa and all that stuff, and you kind of went on this like victory tour, but you were coming off this loss that devastated you. Was that hard? Did you kind of just want to disappear for a little bit?
It wasn't really hard, man. It was more so disappointing because I knew what I had in front of me, that opportunity. And, I asked for it over and over and over, and I got everything. The stars aligned for me, and just a couple mistakes just caused a little setback. I mean, I don't even consider that really like a bad loss. I mean, I could have, my health is wealth. That's the way I look at it. I could have been knocked out. I could have been, just so many things that could have gone wrong. Breaking, just at the end of the day, I take it for what it is. I lost a close fight, and I lost in a battle of inches. Like just a couple of little technical things, man. It just kind of, that's what kills me. It's a couple of technical things that I did on my end that kind of, that more so bothers me.
I saw an interview that you did with the, I believe it was the Three Amigos podcast on Bloody Elbow, where you talked about being at the club after the fight, and your buddy, who's this buddy of yours that was just killing it? What is that? Well, no. I just wanted to know about it because I haven't talked to you since. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for asking, but you had to expect me to ask this. Your buddy just kept killing. I mean, he's just like telling you what you did wrong. I mean, the classic buddy just not making you feel better, and just he was stabbing the wound, in my opinion. And then at some point, you couldn't take it anymore, and you broke down crying. How difficult was that?
Oh my God, it sucks. Like just going down that memory lane again. Man, it was tough. It was just. They meant it in goodwill. It was just they were drinking, I was drinking. The fight just happened. I mean, I wasn't hurt or anything like that. It was just that moment. It just when I kind of recapped it when they just kept talking about it, I'm like, bro, shut the I get it. I know what I need to do. I know the mistakes I made. It's not like something I got to go back and really watch and be like, oh, that's what I did. Oh, that's what I did. I knew right as soon as the fight was over. I was like, man, I know what I did, and that's the beauty of the sport, man. You can take it for what it is, or you can hang your head about it, and it's just like wrestling. I've learned so much through wrestling, through my losses, and I think that's what made me a better wrestler and eventually a two-time All-American. So I take this for what it is, man. I'm gonna come back a better fighter. I'm not really too worried about it. I ain't worried about nothing.
Can you tell us what you think those mistakes were? Like, what are the glaring ones that you made in the fight?
Well, one. Don't shoot your load early. That applies in multiple aspects of life.
That's a good life lesson. Yes, that's right.
2, I went to my basic defense, which was my wizard wrist. When a guy shoots in on you and you get stuck against the cage, or even out in space, and they grab your leg, you get a wizard. which is like an overhook, and then you grab the wrist and you pry that apart. You can never take somebody down with one hand unless the guy's just a lot bigger than you. So that's the philosophy that I teach and what I was taught. So whenever you get those two things, it's almost impossible to get taken down if you're a strong enough guy. So when I went there, just being in a position where I never felt threatened that entire fight, like I saw all his punches coming from a mile away, the little head duck, whip a left hook, and try to throw a two behind it, and everything was like glancing or it didn't touch me at all. So I didn't really feel threatened, man. And once we hit the cage, I was like kind of hanging out. I was tired, and I was just like, you know what? I learned this move in practice. How about I try this right now? And I tried it twice, and it failed. I went from the wizard wrist, I reached over his shoulder, and I didn't go for a Kimura lock. I went for like a shoulder lock thing that I've been doing, and it's worked on level guys. But then when I try to do it against a guy like that, you know, he's obviously waiting for an opportunity in that position where it's kind of just a stalemate. So we get there, and then I give him that one split-second opportunity, and he capitalized on it. And I just didn't have, you know, normally my brother's in my corner. He's like the wrestling coach. I normally have Ray covers jiu-jitsu, I have Matt, Ray covers striking, Matt covers the BJJ, and then my brother's in there, and he covers the wrestling, or even Al, he's in there, covers the wrestling stuff. So I had somebody else in there, but I'm not saying that's the reason. I didn't really think about it. I didn't have somebody kind of point that out to me. Just like stick with the wizard, stick with the wizard wrist basics, and I gave her two crucial takedowns, even though there was no damage done or anything like that. It was just I got laid on. That's the way I look at it. I mean, there's nothing else to call it. People call me a lay and pray fighter when I'm actually going for a finish and I'm actually throwing strikes. Again, you're holding my ankles, tickling my toes for a minute. I don't know. But whatever. It is the better man won that night. That's the way I look at it, you know?
Where was your brother?
He was in Miami.
What?
And you know, the crazy thing is he takes a flight and surprises me the day before the fight and comes out, actually the day of the fight. And I'm just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like,
where have you been?
This makes no sense. Was that?
No, you said to him, like, where have you been?
Yeah, I was just like, I don't get what you just did. Like, you couldn't come out, and now you're out here, and I was like, I don't know. But it is what it is, you know?
So was he was in the stands?
He was in the stands. And the funny thing is, after the fight, I talked about this in the Three Amigos podcast, the article.
Yeah.
And I said, like, the first thing my brother comes over to me and says is, yo, he goes to me, he's like, oh, you did this one thing you always tell us not to do, the thing you always tell me not to do, and that's the fancy stuff. And I was just like, I just shook my head. I was like, I know. And it's just one of those things, man. It's just fight IQ, you know?
Yeah.
Just kind of, you got to know who you're in there with. And I took the fight serious. I thought I was in the best shape of my life. But, you know, things happen.
They promoted the heck out of that fight. You had the whole, like, Eric B thing, right? Yeah. And it was just amazing, the video. And you guys were really being talked about more in the main event that night. And you were coming off the big contract signing and the free agency and all this stuff. In hindsight, is it fair to say that did any of that get to you at all?
I don't think so, man. You know, I felt like it's a job. I asked for the extra media. I asked for the extra attention. I asked for that. I poked the bear, as in the bear. I mean, I'm not even going to call the guy a bear. I poked the, you know, I poked the guy. I'm just leaving it at that. I'm not going to throw any more charge at the guy, but I poked the guy to get the fight because I wanted a tough fight, whereas he didn't want the tough fight. He wanted the easier fight where I wanted to challenge myself to see where I can go. So I got all those things, and you know, the people can say all the media stuff drains you and everything, but you set everything up accordingly to your schedule. I got my training, I got my weight down. I think I was the lightest guy down there during fight week. I got down there, I think I was about 43. So I was, you know, I'm right on weight. Everything is going perfectly as planned. I felt like I had the best training camp of my life. And it's just sometimes just things just don't align. But I don't think it had anything to do with the media aspect at all. I thought it was well-deserved. We're two guys who earned our stripes. Bryan definitely earned his stripes over Garbrandt and Almeida. You got Garbrandt who's talking shit about his opponent. He's down-talking his opponent, saying that, oh, he padded his records by fighting taxi drivers. And then he knocks him out in the first round, and he's pumping his chest. Oh, I just knocked out Almeida. I should be ranked higher. I'm like, shut up. You sound stupid. You make no sense. You can't downplay your opponent and talk about how bad he is and how he's padded his record and then expect for, oh, I'm you know, the title shot thing. I don't know. That whole little thing is weird to me. I keep it real, man. I know what I got myself into, and Bryan didn't disappoint. I just felt like I came up short.
And so I'm wondering if you put any unneeded pressure on your shoulders to prove that you were worthy of being this big free agent signing and stuff like that? Did that ever come into play? Like, oh, I got to prove everyone.
Not so much. I did think I needed to make a statement in that fight. And I think the first round, I kind of like hyped myself up in my head. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm about to get a finish in the first round over this guy. Like, you know, I didn't think it would have come like that. I thought it was going to be like a second round, third round finish or something like that. But then when I had him in those compromising positions so early, I was like, man, I'm about to, you know, it let me know like where I belong, where my skill set is. And just a couple of things. Obviously, my muscle endurance wasn't all there with my arms. My legs felt great. I felt like I moved well throughout the entire fight, although I was tired with my arms. I just had heavy arms. My legs were fine. My lungs felt fine. I just couldn't really keep my hands up, and I don't know. I kind of faded. Where so he kind of he stayed at a steady pace and probably kept building, I guess, throughout the fight. So I don't think. No, to answer your question, I don't think I put any unwanted pressure on myself.
Before you came on the show, I was just talking with New York Rick about how in MMA, losses don't mean as much as some people think they do, in the sense that like anyone who tries to tell you about, oh, you know, MMA will never be as popular as it wants to be because, you know, the top guy like a Robbie Lawler or Conor McGregor or a Ronda Rousey will lose and then they lose all that momentum. And I say that's BS. You can make the case that Conor's more popular now coming off a loss. Nate has double-digit losses, et cetera, et cetera. Do you feel that same way? Like, have you noticed any change in the way? Of course, you're going to have people crap talking you. That's social media and all that stuff. But do you feel like your star has dimmed at all? Like you really need to do more work in your next fight? Or do you think that the smart fans understand that this is a tough sport, 4-ounce gloves, you're going to have setbacks? But look at Tyron Woodley. Not that long ago, he was losing to Roy McDonald and Jake Shield. You know what I'm saying? Where do you fall in that conversation?
I agree 100% with what you said about Tyron, man. It's just he had a lackluster performance against Rory McDonald, and if they fought again, I think the fight would be different. And it's the same way. I don't look at these individual losses as anything. It's they're learning lessons, man. If you don't learn anything from it, then it's something else. And I agree. I think Conor's a bigger star and he's more captivating now because now people want to see, oh, can Nate Diaz do it again, or can Conor McGregor rebound and prove that, you know, that first fight was quote unquote he just punched himself out and he is actually the better fighter. So for me, losses don't mean anything. I've lost as an amateur. I've lost a bunch of times as a wrestler, and I always come back, man. I think that's what it's all about. If you show your teeth more when you can show what you're made of and your heart. And for me, people probably say he's not a fighter because he doesn't get in there and get dirty. Like the whole build-up where Caraway is saying he's not a real fighter. Why? Because I don't get my teeth punched through my lip. Like that makes no sense to me. Like, think about that. Because I don't get my lip busted open, I don't get my nose plastered to the side of my face, that makes me not a real fighter. I tell you what, if a couple of guys would try to round me up and I was back into a corner, I'm going to freaking throw down. You know what I'm saying? So for you to tell me I'm not a fighter because this one little guy is trying to do something, it's mind-boggling to me. But to answer your question, man, I don't think this loss is going to make or break me. I think it's going to make me a better fighter and a better person. And that's pretty much it.
Have you watched it?
Oh, yeah, a bunch of times.
Okay. What's that like for you?
I honestly, in the moment, I felt like I really lost the fight. I felt like he held me down a lot longer than what it was actually when I actually went back to watch the fight, if that makes sense. Uh-huh. So when I in the moment, I kind of hung my head. I chucked my mouthpiece. Oh, B. I chucked my mouthpiece, and you're always taught never to do that. But I was like, you know what, man, I didn't perform well. And when I went back and watched the fight, I'm just like, I started scratching my head. I'm like, hold on, let me watch that again. I'm like, and I count the amount of time he had in the second round when he took me down, the amount of damage I landed, even though it wasn't nothing ridiculous by any means, but I was just like, I could actually see why the judge gave me the fight. One judge gave me the fight, and why it should have probably been a draw. But, at the end of the day, it depends on how you score the fight. So when I look back at it, I kind of take it for what it is. I don't overanalyze and obsess over it because it's just a battle of inches. A couple of mistakes. I stick to my regular defense. I think he shot on me twice, and I kind of just shrugged him off. And you know what I'm saying? It's just like when I did the things I was supposed to do, I did everything correctly. He had no answers for me. When I did the things that I normally don't do, he was able to capitalize. And that's pretty much what it comes down to.
Okay, now let's look ahead. When I think of you, when I think of Ali Quinta, when I think of Chris Weidman, when I think of Chris Wade, when I think of John Vellante, when I think of... What's that?
MSG.
You guys got to be on that card, right? Is this what we're thinking? Is this happening?
It better, man. Listen, the doctor told me I'll be cleared October 3rd. That'll be 12 weeks, and they probably think I could come back a little bit sooner than that, probably a week at earliest. So that leaves me with about roughly 5.5 to 6.5 weeks of time to prep. So I'm already crushing my legs. My legs are shot right now. Killed a crazy workout with Weidman on Friday, and my legs are still shot because I'm going ham, man. I'm not sitting here just wasting my time. I stopped drinking. I'm growing out my little sobriety beard.
Oh, yeah.
Probably this as thick as it's going to get. I really don't grow facial hair like that.
I like it.
So I'm trying to do the right thing, man. MSG New York, I think I could be ready, and I like to get a rebound in a spectacular way in front of my hometown. And what better way to do that is at the first ever card in New York, you know?
So tell me about this sobriety beard. What is this?
I stopped drinking July 11th. I stopped drinking, had my last beer July 10th. And
was this a problem for you?
Not a problem.
Okay.
I just think if I'm going to really be serious and dial it in terms of my recovery, the more I drink, the longer it takes for my body to heal and patch itself up. So if I'm going to keep doing that, I'm only hurting my chances to come back. And the last thing I want to do is try to come back, think I'm ready, and then re-injure myself. So I'm going to do things the right way. I gave the alcohol in I guess in place of the bigger picture, which is to fight and fight in New York.
Never again alcohol?
Oh, no. November 12th, it goes down. Let's go.
Who do you want on that card? Have you thought of that?
There's a ton of good matchups. I mean, I like the Lineker matchup. I like the McDonald matchup. I like Rafael Sunsao. Faber's fighting Jimmy Rivera now. I mean, I would even like that fight with Faber. If any of those top 10 fights make sense to me. Even Eddie Wineland, he's coming off a great win, and I think that fight showed that even his fight with Caraway was like, it's just one of those things. You just can't do MMA math. You never know what's gonna happen. That's why you fight. So there's a ton of good fights, man. I think the bantamweight division has never been more exciting as it is right now.
I couldn't agree more. Can I throw an idea out your way?
What you got?
November 12th, Madison Square Garden, New York's own, Nassau County's own. Was it Nassau? No, it's not Nassau. I'm
Nassau.
You're Nassau. Okay, yeah. Nassau County's own. Yeah, that's right. Aljamain Sterling fighting at MSG, welcoming in the newcomer, New Jersey's own, Marlon Moraes.
Ooh.
What do you think of that?
That's actually not a bad idea. The only, we can do that. The only thing is, Weidman's been down there training with those guys.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to get down there and start training with those guys. Is he actually coming? Is he coming over to the UFC?
Well, no, he just finished his last fight.
Yeah, I know.
So he's a free agent.
Yeah, things might have to. Things might get a little tricky there with the whole cross training. I don't know.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm not opposed to it.
What do you think of it? Do you think he's like high level UFC caliber, or has he been fighting low level talent outside of WSOF? What do you think?
I think that the good thing about that is, even though he hasn't fought high as a caliber as UFC talent, he has had the time to get the experience and to work on some things in the fights that he's been working on in the training room. And for him to go out there and keep finishing these guys, I think it does show a testament to his abilities and his skills. So I definitely think he could definitely hang with, I think, probably anybody in the top 10. I would say. Wow. I think he's pretty legit. I think he's pretty legit.
Who do you think Dominic should fight next?
Dominic Cruz. Who is there for him to fight? I mean, you're gonna have Caraway's gonna sit there and just wait for a title shot until there's no reasonable options. But
TJ,
rightfully it should be TJ.
Yeah.
But he's not interested in that fight. So who is he gonna fight? I don't know. Fight Mighty Mouse again, or go up to 45 maybe? I don't know. I mean, who else? He's gonna fight 3 times in 1 year. That's pretty interesting. That's actually pretty cool to see him that active.
Sure. But, yeah, good for him.
There's really nobody else, really. I mean, he's going to have to wait, or he's going to have to get the rematch. I think that's the only thing that really makes sense.
Final question. How far away do you think you are from being back in that discussion? Do you think it'll be 1 fight, 2 fight? Because you know how the sport goes. One minute you're coming off a loss. The next minute you win in emphatic fashion. Everyone's saying title shot, title shot. What do you envision?
I think I think one fight, man.
Wow.
I think one fight with the right timing.
Yeah.
It just would make sense. Like, even if, like, had I won that fight with Caraway, I think I'm in the title discussion. You know, TJ already had his shot. There would be nobody else really there that hasn't, challenged the guy. So I think I would have been that guy, and I could have possibly jumped the line over TJ. But it's just really about timing and what the bosses wanting to do. So I think with one fight, man, then this beast is attacking me.
Yeah. Let's see some of that.
Use my right hand.
Right.
My back.
Well, it's good to see you in good spirits, my man. Appreciate the time. Get well soon.
Oh.
Yes.
Got some breaking news.
Oh.
I got a documentary coming out on just pretty much my life, my training, my family, friends, my team. And it's for a good cause, man. We're trying to raise some money for CP, which is cerebral palsy. Mm-hmm. It's going to be my new non-for-profit. It's called Fighters for CP.
Okay.
It's going to be cool, man. We're going to do like a Kickstarter, try to raise some money, and hopefully we raise the money, we can get it going, and we can make this whole thing happen. So I'm excited about it. I actually used to teach a couple of kids not a couple of kids, but I used to work with a couple of kids that had CP, and I taught them how to wrestle. They would wrestle with their little brothers back in college.
Wow.
It was one of the requirements for physical education. You have to take an adaptive class. So we learned about a whole bunch of disabilities and things like that to say. So I'm excited about doing this, and the partner that I'm doing it with is actually David Kano. He's the one who approached me with the idea, and I jumped up. I was like, bro, that's right up my alley, man. I work with kids like that, and I think it's something exciting, something that I want to do, and I think it's something that would be cool for people who are, I guess, have that attachment to whoever been affected by anybody who has CP or anything like that. So it's going to be to raise money, donate, and do things like that, and then hopefully raise awareness for kids with cerebral palsy. And
David is the guy who did the video with Eric B, right?
No. He does MMA. I think it's MMA Now.
Okay. My bad. Is the documentary coming out, or like is it done?
We're gonna do we did a trailer. We're gonna push that out and see what type of feedback we get.
Okay.
I think it's actually a pretty cool trailer, and just see what kind of feedback we get. If we can raise the money, that'd be great. I'll probably even throw in a couple. I'll throw some of my own money to make sure we reach the Kickstarter requirements so that we can get this thing going. I think it would be something exciting to do, and we'll probably get it done if it gets going and we raise the money in time. We'll get it done hopefully before UFC MSG.
All right. His Twitter is funkmaster_UFC. You see it on your screen. That's where he will be. There it is. Yeah, bang. Good luck, my man. I hope you get on that card, and tell Raging Al that I miss him as well. Raging Al, Al Breakdown. Make sure you guys watch us. Yes. Aljamainsterling.com. Island Boy. Boom, boom, boom. Bang, baby. Good to see you, Aljamain. Best of luck. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Funkmaster joining us. Definitely deserves to be on that MSG card, as does Raging Al, as does Chris Weidman, as does Chris Wade, as does Ryan LaFleur, as does Frankie Edgar. Throwing the New Jersey guys in there as well. Make it New York, New Jersey versus the world. It's good enough for me. I think it was Mark LaMonica who first came up with that idea. Throw Matt Serra on there. Sure, it'll be a heavyweight fight, Have him sit in there having some lasagna. I don't know. It'll be great. Who doesn't want to see that?